Now on CoastTV News.
Referendum rejected again. Indian River voters say no to a tax increase. We look at the vote totals and how district leaders are responding. Don't fall for it. A phony police voicemail is making the rounds in Georgetown. How you can tell it's not real. Camden Castle farewell. A Kent County park is set to be replaced. Why neighbors say it's hard to let go.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
People living in the Indian River School District will not see a tax increase. Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. We begin tonight with referendum results. Unofficial vote totals, they came in just before 9 p.m. tonight. The Indian River School District referendum has been defeated for a second time. Officials say there were about 5,700 votes in favor, more than 6,500 votes against. And CoastTV did go to a few different polling places today to speak with voters. We heard a lot of mixed opinions. Take a listen.
I feel that they are spending way too much money on administrative duties. If there was more for the children, it would be fine, and I would vote for that.
It's in the best interest of our students. I'm a substitute teacher for the Indian River School District, so I see every day what it takes to make our kids successful and to help them learn.
Now, district leaders have said that a failed referendum likely means cuts to staff and programs in the district. District Superintendent Dr. Jay Owens said in a statement tonight, Indian River School District administration and the Board of Education face some difficult decisions in the coming months. Moving on now, scammers are posing as an officer from the Georgetown Police Department. And CoastTV reporter Zakia Jennings shows us what police believe these scammers are doing to level up their ways to con and steal from victims.
Police Department.
Lieutenant Joel Diaz is listening to a voicemail. The only problem is the person on the voicemail is claiming to be Lieutenant Diaz.
Yes, ma'am. This is Detective Sergeant Joel Diaz, Georgetown Police Department.
This is the first sign that you are not speaking with someone from the Georgetown Police Department. Joel Diaz was promoted to lieutenant 3 years ago. This scam started back in 2024 when Lieutenant Diaz says he became an unsuspecting target.
I was angry because for 20 some odd years, I have attempted to build trust-based relationships with this community. So that is an attack on the trust that I have with the community.
Mara Driggers was a victim of the scam. She spoke with the scammers for nearly 10 minutes before realizing something was wrong.
They're targeting each individual based on facts that they're finding about you on the internet. So that's a scary thing.
If you listen closely, you hear pauses between the scammer's words.
Convenient. You can reach me on my field line here at.
Lieutenant Diaz says he believes AI may have been used to generate that message.
The computer programs or the softwares are getting better at creating images, duplicating voices. Now the question is, if the crime's on video, there's a secondary question. And the secondary question is it a real video? Is it a real phone call? Are they real images?
Lieutenant Diaz acknowledges people are on autopilot most days, but urges people to
pause. Sometimes you have to just pause and really process the information.
A community working to keep each other safe as technology grows. In Georgetown.
That was Zakia Jennings reporting there. And the scammers, they're continuing to try new ways to target people. The scammers have moved on to the Lewis department now. The number that contacted Mara now has a different voicemail claiming to be Sergeant Jonathan Moyer. The number being used, take note here, it's 302-273-8613. And now we're going to take a live look outside into Lewis and turn things over to our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you. And right now we are still trying to shake off the bad smoke in the air at this point. Air quality has been downgraded to moderate throughout the entire Delmarva Peninsula. We got a couple of orange spots too right off the coast of New Jersey and then right along the Maryland and Pennsylvania borderline. Now, overall, we're still expecting for it to clear up a bit for us. As you take a look at the future smoke, we're looking for all this to begin to track its way actually towards the east and pull it right off of the Delmarva Peninsula. We're looking very clear for right now, and fortunately, we're not seeing any additional concerns for air quality to our north. That's been actually downgraded for us out of the Philadelphia area as the cold front pushes through. Here's a quick peek at our expectation for tonight. We're going to have temperatures starting off in the 60s in the morning time and 70s by the mid-morning. Coming up, we're going to talk about some rain over the weekend. Christina?
All right, we'll check back in. Thank you, Paul. Well, a beloved park in Kent County that's been part of the community for about 30 years, it's nearing its final chapter. Piccadilly Castle, the playground, it's tucked inside Brecknock County Park. It holds some special memories for generations of families with its slides, tire swings, and castle-like design. Kent County Parks and Rec announced yesterday that due to its aging infrastructure, it plans to replace the park. Many neighbors say it's hard to say goodbye to a place that has meant so much for decades.
My kids were little then, and you know, we loved coming here. I guess it was fairly new then. I don't even remember, but it was always a nice park to come to. And now they're grown and they have their own children, and they're still coming here. So we love this park.
Now, Kent County Parks and Rec officials say plans, they're still in the very early stages. Updates will be shared on their Facebook page as they shape the park's future. Commercial pollution violations could soon cost more. In Delaware, this week lawmakers introduced the Pollution Accountability Act. It would update the fine structure for commercial polluters by increasing penalties for violations for things like air pollution and hazardous waste. For example, lawmakers say an oil pollution violation could be fined up to $40,000 per day. That's compared to the current $10,000 limit. If approved, the bill would also require that a larger percent of those fines be reinvested into affected communities. We have more tonight on local fire companies' financial status. All 24 fire and EMS companies across Sussex County participated in an in-depth financial review, except for Mid-Sussex Rescue Squad in the Long Neck area. CoastTV reporter Emma Aiken shows us why people who live in that area have questions about transparency.
It's one of only 2 standalone EMS companies in Sussex County, meaning they don't have fire trucks. Mid-Sussex Rescue Squad, which provides ambulances in the Long Neck area. Indian River has the fire trucks. And as you can see here, consultants say they are the only department in the county who did not participate in the recent financial review of how services are managed. Long Neck local Mary Hallahan says that raises questions.
I found it troubling because I see a lack of transparency, and then you have to wonder why.
But Mid-Sussex says they would have taken part in the study had they known, and says, quote, it wasn't a choice of not participating. However, a spokesperson for the Sussex County Firemen's Association tells CoastTV they notified Mid-Sussex months ago, and they feel like there's, quote, untruthfulness involved. Debbie Lord says she's surprised to hear Mid-Sussex didn't take part.
I can't speculate as to why, but it concerns me.
Mid-Sussex says they believe if they did participate, they would have had scored among the lowest since they are standalone EMS and calls keep increasing. However, they say they're taking steps to take better care of their community and hope to expand. As calls rise and questions mount, Mid-Sussex stands alone.
And we did reach out to Facets Consulting, who were in charge of this report, about the correspondence they had with Mid-Sussex. They said they had no comment at this time. This does bring us to our CoastTV poll tonight. We want to know, would you pay more taxes for better fire service? Taking a look at the updated results now, 63% say absolutely yes, 15% maybe, and 11% each say only if it's needed or never at all. And you can still vote. We want to know what you think about this, so go over to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Well, nearly 6 months after the devastating LA wildfires, Southern California is still clearing fire-ravaged neighborhoods. But even though the flames are now gone, there's concerns about how these wildfires affected those who were on the front lines. According to the International Association of Firefighters, 2/3 of firefighters die from job-related cancer. Mary Bell Gonzalez tells us what's being done to protect those who protect the public.
Los Angeles Fire Department Captain Jeff Brown took this video from Fire Station 69 in Pacific Palisades on January 8th.
I knew we were in for a battle.
This was just the beginning of what would become LA's most destructive wildfires. For weeks on end, firefighters worked to calm the flames.
All the plastics, all the metals, all the unknowns. That definitely poses some health concerns. And, a lot of us were pretty hurting in the lung category.
This wildfire exposure a concern for Captain Brown even months after the fires. And for pulmonologist Ashraf El Sayeg, whose own home burned in the Palisades fire. He opened this clinic at Providence St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica, specifically to help residents and first responders.
These firefighters are exposed to first the fires, and then they're still there. They're working on the ground during the cleanup phase, so they are very exposed to toxins.
In the short term,
we're seeing a lot of pneumonias, a lot of bronchitis, sinus infections. We're still seeing, chronic cough, chronic shortness of breath.
But it could be years before we learn the health effects of LA's exposure.
We don't have these large disasters every day, so we're learning as we go. With the World Trade Center, the one thing we did learn is that we have to treat the responders, the victims, as early and as quickly as possible.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
And we are just getting started tonight. Still a lot more news coming up, but we have details from today's Healthy Lifestyle Conference in Dover. But first, working out for a cure. In this week's Coastal Connections, 2 local fitness trainers have a unique way of raising money for cancer research. That story up next.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast. Friday, we're looking pretty clear, but Saturday and Sunday, we're bracing for some scattered showers in our neck of the woods. We'll talk more about your full forecast that includes rain over the weekend coming up.
Cancer is a terrible disease. It impacts so many people, so many families, and it's why finding a cure is so important. But that takes money. In this week's Coastal Connections, CoastTV reporter Brandon Ferguson shows us how 2 Rehoboth Beach trainers are doing something unique to raise money.
200 burpees.
196.
For 100 days. For one cure for cancer.
Everybody knows somebody who's been impacted in some way.
That's what Adam Howard and Bruce Clayton are doing to raise money for the BB Tunnel Cancer Center, a place that Howard has a personal connection to.
My father was treated there. My father-in-law was a radiation oncologist at BB through the Tunnel Cancer Center, and then also my mom had breast cancer.
This is the 3rd year that these men are doing this fitness challenge. Last year, they raised over $6,000 for cancer research. According to the National Cancer Institute, Sussex County has over 1,600 new cancer cases a year. Trainer Bruce Clayton says these workouts are dedicated to each and every person diagnosed.
I mean, this compared to what other people might be going through is a piece of cake.
Adam Howard says there's no better combination than working out for a cause.
Bruce and I are passionate about and raising funds for the community is great. The community's done so much for us and we just want to give back.
In all, Clayton and Howard will complete 20,000 burpees, and that feeling at the end makes it all worth it.
When we bring a check over to the Tunnel Cancer Center, it makes us feel amazing, so those burpees aren't that bad.
To donate, you can go directly to BB Tunnel Cancer Center or to the Body Shop in Rehoboth Beach, where any form of donation is accepted. Burpees for BB, working out for a cure. For Coastal Connections, I'm Brandon Ferguson.
Right now, we're holding at 72 degrees in Lewis, courtesy of our Tunnel and Razor camera, and we are bracing for a chance of scattered showers to develop going into the weekend. So let's talk about that weekend rain. But we'll get to it in a moment. 67 degrees by late tonight going into the early morning hours with partly to mostly cloudy skies. Live radar, we're looking pretty clear at this point, and I don't really see a problem with it. We have some rain that's dancing around to our south, but it's not moving towards us. We have this cold front that's going to slide through, but we're not expecting for it to get cold by any stretch of the imagination. So going into tomorrow, by noon, 81 degrees, 82 by 2 o'clock, and then we'll probably peak at about 2 o'clock with the winds pushing primarily out of the south at about 9 miles per hour. Now, we got a chance to warm to 82 degrees for the high in Georgetown, 79 for the high in all of our other locations, including Salisbury, Cambridge, Wallops Island, and Ocean City. The concern we have has been being overexposed to too much UV index or UV rays over an extended period of time. Now, we're expected to peak at about a 9 level, which is considered very high for tomorrow. Now, one day of 9, not a really big deal, but remember, we had 8s all week long until we got to this 9. So I'm really concerned about being exposed over the long haul because we've got a lot of summer left, folks. So be sure you protect yourself with the proper SPF level of sunblock. 77 for the high in Lewis for tomorrow, 73 Rehoboth, but much warmer at 80 degrees in Seaford, Georgetown, and Laurel. We'll warm to 82 degrees in Federalsburg, Denton, as well as Cambridge, and the winds will be pushing primarily out of the southeast at 6 to 12 miles per hour for us in Berlin with 78 degrees for the expected high. Here's a peek at what we're expecting along the coast. Now, when you are talking about comparing inland to coast, there's going to be a temperature difference between the two due to the effect or the influence of the water. But we're still going to be in the upper 70s at Dewey Beach as well as Chincoteague and cloudy skies at Chincoteague. Friday, 7 o'clock, clouds cover will begin to kick in for us. Saturday's when we're looking at that chance of rain, popping up with a spot shower over Lewis real quick, and then it begins to dissipate. The more inland areas under the same situation, pretty much the same timing. 68, for example, early Saturday morning. And then we look at widespread scattered showers begin to kick in for us by the 11 o'clock hour. And we can use this rainfall because for the month, we're at about a ½ inch shy of our normal amount. But to be quite honest, for the year total, we're about 3 inches above that. Now, our muggy meter is staying on the muggy side. And when we talk about mugginess, we start talking about mosquitoes once again. Well, we have our skeeter meter out, sponsored by Active Pest Solutions. High amount of skeeters for us on Friday. Saturday and Sunday, we're looking at more moderate. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Rainy on Saturday, Sunday, and another round of thunderstorms on Tuesday.
All right, got it. Thank you, Paul. Well, 2 congressmen have partnered on a bipartisan bill to reclassify National Weather Service employees as critical to public safety, allowing faster hiring across hundreds of vacant positions. Tomorrow morning, the representatives expected to introduce that legislation. NBC meteorologist Chase Kane talked with the congressman who says staying safe in severe weather should be one thing we can all agree on.
On this 4th-generation farm in northern Illinois, weather and climate predictions dictate everything from water for their cattle to when to plant. And for this mother of 4, when to take cover.
I want to be confident that if there is severe weather heading my way, that I'm informed, that I know about that. And if we cut some of these services that have been around for over 100 years, it becomes really challenging for some of those big decisions that, again, ultimately impact our bottom line.
Megan also happens to live in the district represented by the only meteorologist in Congress, and he shares her concern about widespread staff shortages across the National Weather Service.
I value that in the middle of the night when the worst storm doesn't wake me up, that their warning will wake me up so that I get my kids down in the basement. That is of incredible value.
That's why Eric Sorensen visited his local weather office to listen to and encourage the forecasters stretched thin, so thin that sometimes they can't do basic things like launch a weather balloon.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And fewer balloon launches also grabbed attention 300 miles to the west and across the political divide.
Well, I could see it in their eyes. They were burnt out. They were concerned.
Mike Flood visited his district's weather office in April, also short-staffed at the time.
We have a tornado warning issue for Pottawatomie County.
When 6 tornadoes hit eastern Nebraska. Right after, he called the White House and pushed for what became Monday's announcement that 126 vacant positions would be filled across the Weather Service, roughly a fourth of the total vacancies.
We're fixing it. We're going to fund them. It's not going to get privatized. And I think it's an opportunity for some real change and hopefully some additional investment.
Now, Flood is partnering with Sorensen on a bipartisan bill to further protect Weather Service forecasters by reclassifying them as public safety alongside FBI agents and air traffic controllers. That would be a first in the 155-year history of the National Weather Service.
We have to make sure that we're protecting them because they don't just serve my constituents here, they serve constituents of every member of Congress.
I really feel confident. This is not a partisan issue. This is not a red issue. This is not a blue issue. We all see the value in it, including the White House.
And along with the president's support, Flood tells me that he's also working with the House Appropriations Committee to ensure that the Weather Service maintains full funding. And a spokesperson for the agency says they'll soon post those 126 openings for, quote, permanent mission-critical positions. We'll be sure to follow this story. I'm meteorologist Chase Kane.
Coming up in sports tonight, the Orioles are the hottest team in baseball. We have highlights from Baltimore's come-from-behind win to sweep the Mariners.
And we take a look at your extended forecast. We anticipate scattered showers on Saturday and on Sunday.
This is Coast TV News at 11.
A push to promote healthier living brought some neighbors, health leaders, and advocates together in Dover today. The Delaware Division of Public Health hosted its third annual Advancing Healthy Lifestyles Conference. It focused on helping Delawareans eat well, move well, and live well. It was held at Delaware State University, and the event connected people with health organizations and resources. Officials say 37% of Delaware adults are living with obesity. It's a number they're hoping to lower through education and community outreach.
We are here to collaborate and energize and discuss and have conversations to help move the needle to improve the health of Delawareans throughout the state.
An event organizers say there were about 300 participants at today's wellness conference there in Dover. Well, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say more than 200 types of mosquitoes can be found in the U.S. About 12 of those types can spread potentially dangerous germs. Since there's no way to tell which kind of mosquito is around you, it is important to protect against all bites. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how to avoid mosquito-borne illnesses this summer.
They're called the world's deadliest animal by the CDC. Mosquitoes kill more people than any other creature, and right now these insects are out and they're hungry.
Mosquitoes need to blood feed to obtain proteins and nutrients necessary for egg production, and as such they hunt humans.
Connor McMenamin with the Johns Hopkins Malaria Research Institute at Bloomberg School of Public Health says around the world, infected mosquitoes are responsible for around 700,000 deaths every year. The insects can spread diseases like West Nile virus, malaria, dengue, yellow fever, Zika, chikungunya, and lymphatic filariasis.
There's a lot of things we can do to stop mosquitoes biting us. The first thing is to protect our homes.
McMenamin says to use window screens, ceiling fans, and air conditioners also help make a home inhospitable for mosquitoes, and remove standing water sources around your yard. That's where the insects like to breed. Protecting yourself and your loved ones is also important.
Wearing a personal insect repellent, an EPA registered insect repellent, is important, as well as covering up when you're outdoors, particularly during times of day when mosquitoes like to bite, such as dusk.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
No team in baseball has had a better start to the month of June than the Baltimore Orioles. Let's roll the tape from the series finale today in Seattle. Down 3-1 in the sixth, Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson went back-to-back to lift Baltimore to a sixth consecutive win. The O's have swept back-to-back series and are now just 11 games under 500. Up in Toronto, the Phillies dropped back-to-back series, falling to the Blue Jays 9-1 in the rubber game. Jesus Luzardo started for Philly and has now given up 20 earned runs in his last two starts. That's the most for any pitcher in the modern era. The good news for the Fightins is the Mets and Braves also lost and did so epically. New York blew a 5-3 lead to the Dodgers in the eighth, while Atlanta let a 6-run ninth-inning cushion get away against the Diamondbacks. Philly now heads to Pittsburgh to play the Pirates tomorrow. You know who else is also headed to the Steel City? Aaron Rodgers. The 41-year-old informed the Steelers of intention to sign with the franchise and report to minicamp. The former MVP spent the past 2 seasons with the Jets and is just 1 year removed from missing all of 2023 with a torn Achilles. The Steelers are set to open the season in East Rutherford against Gangrene. For you Ravens fans, Pittsburgh comes to M&T Bank on December 7th. Be sure to follow us on our social media for all of our other summer action happening here on the shore. That is for sports tonight.
Now here's a live look outside into Dover, and we'll have one more check on the forecast after the break.
Well, take a look at our Bay Health camera. We're at Milford at 70 degrees right now. We're going to drop down to 69 under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Live radar is looking very clear at this point. We'll keep a close eye on what's happening with it, particularly over the weekend. We're expecting a better chance of rain. Linda Thrall of Rehoboth Beach, congratulations. You're our umbrella winner, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling. If you want to keep up with your forecast with our weather line, simply call our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mendalis, and Federico. Your forecast is just a call away. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. 83 down to 81, down to 76, thanks to scattered showers that will push through our region over the weekend. And then as we go into Monday, 77 degrees, partly cloudy skies Tuesday. Thunderstorms will reemerge, particularly in the afternoon hours, with a chance of thunderstorms possibly turning severe. And then we'll hit a warming trend Wednesday going into Thursday. And we could climb and possibly reach all the way up to 90 degrees on Thursday, and then stay elevated at 89 to close to 90 degrees on next Friday.
Oof. Alrighty, thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find some more local news and local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, it's up next. We'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.